get some tourism, blah, blah, blah. We'll give you this huge loan. It'll be all great, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, yeah, we can like get up, on the totem pole. We can stop being this, super lame, third world country that's on the TV all the time, showing about how poor we are, like stop being made fun of and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so they give them this huge loan, which never gets paid back. So as soon as they default on that loan, what happens? Now they have to give their land. Now the country, the whole country, the land of that country now becomes collateral for that loan, just like the house in that mortgage does. So they're taking control of the water resources, the food resources, the gold, the mineral resources. They're just taking it just like that. Just like that with these huge loans. So you've got international loans that are taking place to whole countries. Instead of buying a house, you're buying a country. That's been happening for a long time. And that's why, the United States and other countries, is as rich and wealthy as we are, is because we own the other countries. And they work for 10 cents an hour, 20 cents an hour, and it all comes to us. They don't get any of it. It all comes to us. They don't get any of it. It all comes to us. Their labor comes to us. Their resources come to us. Their food, their water comes to us, and they just, they use some sticks, to protect themselves from the rain, and find some rags, to wrap around their, genitalia so that they're not like stoned to death for being inappropriate. And it's this huge mess. It's this huge, complete, total mess that we've gotten into, and yet at the same time, like it's so easy, it's so simple, because the truth is that we are the power. We always have been, we always have been, and we always will be.
Power.
We are the power. We always have been, and we always will be. Because guess what? It doesn't matter how powerful the United States government or military is. There's people. There are people, men and women, who are working, who are supporting that reality. Not just with their taxes, not just with complacency and compliance, but literally there are men walking around with guns, right? Wearing some badge as, a military official or whatever it is, right? They don't have to do that. And they're in complete and total ignorance and denial. If they knew the truth, they probably wouldn't do what they're doing. But they don't know. So we are still the power. There's no stack of papers, there's no corporation, there's no government, there's no one that can do anything without the slaves to do it for them. It is as simple as that. We are the power. And as soon as a global awakening takes place, and it doesn't even have to be everybody, it just has to be a certain percentage. Sort of that, so that's the 100 monkey thing. There just has to be just enough people that stop putting their money there, that stop participating, that stop supporting, and just say, no, I'm done. I'm done. All done. It just disappears. It stops. Because guess what? There could be some family that has, 10% of the entire global wealth, and just in their family. Well, what happens to all that paper? What happens to all that credit when people don't want it? What happens to their 150,000 acres that they don't use?
When they don't have other people to police it.
Right, when they don't have other people to police it for them. But I don't care how big the corporation is, I don't care how rich anybody is, you're just a man. You're just a woman. That's it. And, this plays out to the huge, global elite scale, and it also plays down, to the little, police officers. These police officers that walk around with, with a gun, and a badge, and they think they've got this power, and they think they've got this authority because they've been trained to think they have this power and trained to think they have this authority, and all these, really puny, weak, scared, ignorant humans are giving them that power and giving them that authority. Well, guess what? They're still men and women too. They went to school just like everybody else did. They got made fun of. They got picked on. You know, their parents beat them, put them in timeout, you know, grounded them. You know, they went through puberty. You know, they scraped their knees. You know, learned to ride a bike. You know, they're just men and women. They're just men and women. They're acting in official capacity, but they're still men and women. Everybody is just a man or a woman. That's it. And in that sense, we're all equal. 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 And there is way more than enough of everything. Way more than enough of everything. I did a whole talk on this, you know, the Enlightened Exposure on abundance. And I shared a very simple fact, which I've already shared tonight. The United States military budget has enough value, enough assets, enough worth there to feed the entire population of the entire world. Just our military, just the military of the United States. So just that, there's enough food to feed the entire world. And that's one of the most important things about being alive. That's abundance. There's way more than enough of everything, I promise you. There's way more than enough of everything. And just because you've lived your whole life in lack doesn't mean that there isn't this huge amount of abundance and surplus there. You just don't have access to it because you've been trained and conditioned to not have access to it. Just like the blacks were trained to comply and be slaves. You know, if you're born as being a slave, you act like a slave. You don't ever not act like a slave. You know, same thing if you're a dog. You don't act like you're not a dog because you're trained to be a dog. You know, whereas if that dog were born out in the wild, it would be completely different than a dog that's born into a suburban household because of the way it's trained and conditioned to be. You know, humans are no different than a horse that's being broken. You know, if you go out into the wild, it doesn't even exist anymore, and you find a wild horse, you know, it's going to be all like... You know, and then a bunch of, you know, dudes with ropes and, you know, trucks and whatnot, they rile it down, they, you know, tie it down, they hold it down, you know, it's fighting as hard as it possibly can, it fights as hard as it possibly can, it fights as hard as it possibly can until it has no more energy left. And it just gives up because it fought as long and hard as it possibly could. Tie it up, you know, put it in that truck, bring it back to a stable, put a bigger rope on it, and just hold it on that rope, hold it on that rope. You can't go anywhere, you have no power. You can't go anywhere, you have no power. You have no freedom, you can't do what you want. You're on this rope. And then pretty soon they start putting them around in a circle. You're going to go around in the circle, otherwise I'm going to hit you with this. You're going to go around in the circle, or I'm going to hit you with this. It's all staged training. They call it training, but it's just breaking. You're just breaking the spirit. You're breaking the power. You're breaking the freedom of that beast, of that being that was alive, empowered, and free, and healthy, and abundant. You're tying it with a rope. You have no power, you have no power. And then the next stage is, not only do you have no power, but now you have to do what I tell you to do, otherwise you're going to be inflicted upon pain. Now the horse learns to go around in the circle, and once the horse goes around in the circle without being beat anymore, then they put a saddle on it. Now you're going to wear this saddle, and you're not going to do shit about it. Otherwise you're going to be beat, and then it wears the saddle. And then they put a person on there, and they're like, okay, now you're going to not buck this person off, you're going to, you know, carry this person around, otherwise you're going to get beat. And now, when you're pulled right, you're going to go right, and when you're pulled left, you're going to go left, and the horse just becomes a machine. Just like you, just like 99.9% of humans on this earth. You do what you're told, you follow the rules, or you get beat, or you get punished. So, it's just a reprogramming that has to take place. And as soon as we realize the truth, as soon as we realize we're not actually on that rope, you know, the best example is of the elephant. You know, they have elephants in captivity, and they've just got like, you know, this little tiny rope around their huge legs. They could just like completely break that rope if they wanted to, but they don't, because when they were a baby elephant, they were put in captivity. They had a chain, or when they were even an adult, they had a chain around them they couldn't get off of. And they just made a decision in their mind. They made a conclusion in their mind. Hi. They made a conclusion in their mind that this is my territory, this is as far as I can go, and as soon as I feel the tug on that rope, I can't go any further. And so they don't even try. Even though they could, they don't even try. And that's basically where we are as in humanity, because I've told a lot of people before, hey, guess what? You can discharge your mortgage and they still pay it. Hey, guess what? You can travel between space and time without a driver's license, and they still keep their driver's license. Wow. Because it's just too hard to imagine and to fathom what life would be like otherwise. Done this for so long. Button. Button. So before change can take place in our physical world, in our physical life, in our family life, it has to take place in here first. We have to realize the truth first. Right? So I've just given you the truth about money. I'm giving you the truth about money. And you've got to reprogram your whole mind, your whole consciousness, your whole relationship, your whole comprehension of that which you believe to be money. And then you have to begin to filter that through all of the parts of your life that are involved with money. There's a lot of steps to take place. It is simple and it's also complex. They're both real, they're both true. It's extremely simple and it's extremely complex. So remember that we are the power. We are the power, we are the only power, we are the only power that ever has been, we're the only power that ever will be, except for, God, Creator, Source Prime itself, that which all life comes from. We are the power. There is no man, there is no woman, there's no corporation, there's no government that has power over us. It doesn't exist. We just give that power. We give that power, which is still our power. It's still our power, and we're giving that power. It's still our power. It's our power. We're just giving it away. So all we have to do is stop giving away that power. Just like with the IRS. All we have to do is just stop paying. And know the truth. Let's. Oh, God.
Don't
Yeah.
say